Welcome to TokyoCheapo. I'm your host Aimee, and today we are going to be talking about new regulations that have come into effect since 2024 for climbing Mount Fuji. This includes things like needing to get a permit before you climb, mountain hut reservations, and the time of day that you will be permitted to climb. So let's get into it. In this video, we'll just be covering the new regulations that have come into effect. If you'd like to know everything else about climbing Mount Fuji, we do already have a video that you can check out after this one. But let's first give a little bit of a quick context to Mount Fuji. It is 3,776 meters high, and the official climbing season usually goes from the start of July until September 10th. Outside of this time, there will be very limited facilities such as huts, bathrooms, and whatnot on the mountain. There are 4 trails that you can take to go up to the top of Mount Fuji. These include the Fuji Trail, Gotemba Trail, Subashiri Trail, and the Yoshida Trail. Mount Fuji is actually split between 2 prefectures, so the Yoshida Trail is governed by Yamanashi Prefecture, and then the other 3 trails are governed by Shizuoka Prefecture. This is going to have an impact on all the new regulations that we're going to talk about soon. The Yoshida Trail is easily the most popular and the most crowded of the trails, so a lot of these new regulations are going to apply there. However, they are changing quite frequently, so we do also suggest going and checking out the official Mount Fuji website so that you can get really up-to-date information. But without further ado, let's go in and talk about those new regulations as they are now. The first new big change is the introduction of a permit system or a hiking trail fee. This only applies to the Yoshida Trail. You will now be required to pay a 2,000 yen hiking trail fee. And there is also an additional 1,000 yen conservation fee that is voluntary to pay. Along with this, to curb the overtourism and how crowded it has been getting on the Yoshida Trail, they are limiting the amount of people that can get those permits to 4,000 per day. 3,000 of those permits will be available to purchase online up to the day before, and then 1,000 of those will be available at the gate on the day. When purchasing them online, you can of course use cashless payments, and you can make bookings for up to groups of 100. And then if you are purchasing one on the day, there are also cashless payments available. Once that limit of 3,000 is hit online for a particular day, they will be closing bookings. So it's a good idea to get in early with booking that permit. Bear in mind, this permit is only to be able to hike the trail. It is not a mountain hut reservation, which leads us on to the second big change on the Yoshida Trail. And that is there will now be a gate installed at the start of the trail, and if you are arriving after 4 p.m., you will not be able to hike the trail unless you show proof of a mountain hut reservation. The reason for this is authorities are trying to stop bullet climbing. What is bullet climbing? It is when people hike throughout the night without stopping at a mountain hut to get to the summit of Mount Fuji for sunrise and then hike back down. The reason why they are trying to curb this is if you are bullet climbing, there is a lot more risk of you getting altitude sickness if you're going up and back really quickly. And also, it gets really cold near the top of Mount Fuji, particularly at nighttime. It can get down to 0 degrees or below. So they want to try and curb the people who are out exposed at this time. So the Yoshida Trail will be officially closed between 4 p.m. and 3 a.m. Of course, if you don't have a mountain hut reservation, you can enter still before 4 p.m. But after that time, only people with those mountain hut reservations will be able to enter the trail. As I said earlier, these new rules only apply to the Yoshida Trail. For the other 3 trails, there is still the 1,000 yen voluntary conservation fee. However, the permit fee of 2,000 yen currently isn't in effect. The main thing that they ask on the other 3 trails is that you submit a hiking plan before you start the trail online. When you submit the plan, you'll get a QR code, and you'll need to show that to the people at the start of the trail. However, if you haven't done that, you can still hike the mountain, but you will need to stop at the trailhead and get a presentation, a video. It's a little unsure at the moment, but basically they will go over how to safely hike the mountain. On these other 3 trails, there isn't a gate per se at the trailhead, but they will be discouraging people from starting after 4 p.m. to again discourage bullet climbing. Now onto mountain hut reservations. As I said a little bit earlier, these are separate from that 2,000 yen permit that you need to purchase. So these ones, you will want to book them in advance as well, quite far in advance. as of filming this video, it is the start of July, and we did have a check about mountain hut reservations for the 2024 season, and a lot of them already are booked up. So it's a good idea to get in really early for those bookings. Some other things that you'll want to prepare for your hike up Mount Fuji are lots of layers. As I said earlier, it gets really cold even in the middle of summer near the summit of Mount Fuji. You'll also want really good trekking shoes, and you'll want to have quite a bit of cash and coins because all of the toilets on Mount Fuji require about 200 to 300 yen each time that you use the toilet as a tip. Again, for a really detailed guide for everything that you need to know for climbing the mountain, do check out the video that we already have. And do leave any comments down below if you would like things clarified for what you need to know now for climbing Mount Fuji from 2024 onwards. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.